Hello. I just got done watching the first Star Trek reboot movie, and I feel like Paramount should have kept their nose out of it. I don't care if it's their IP, if it's their intellectual property. There should be a limit to how much these companies are involved with making the movies. If people don't want to go see it because it's not holding true to what Gene Roddenberry envisioned for Star Trek, then it's not gonna. It may make them money, but fans like me, aren't necessarily gonna go see it because it's a Star Trek. We're going to go see it because we expect to see something that we've loved for the past, 15, 20, or 40 years. I'm in my 30s, and I grew up with Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and Enterprise. Which I loved Enterprise. I don't care what anyone says. People can bitch about it. Oh well, it was lackluster, or the writing was crap. I liked it. I was, and if they had gone another season, I was fully hoping that we'd get to see the Earth-Romulan War. I mean, they led in the fourth season. They led you up to the events prior to it, which I thought was interesting. And we've got to see what Romulus looked like in the 22nd century. Between the late 21st and 22nd centuries, it really was interesting. I mean, those drone ships, the way they could use hollow emitters to mask themselves as another vessel. I mean, that was ingenious. I mean, here you have a Tyrellian freighter. All of a sudden, the thing is opening up with phasers on you, and the phasers, the modulation that energy doesn't even correspond to what the real race had. It really was interesting how they could mimic, like the NX-01 Enterprise. They were able to use the drone ship to mimic that to attack an Andorian vessel, and vice versa. And it really does go to show, the potential that they put into Enterprise, all the fun that the FX people and all the writers had. I mean, I love that. But this new Star Trek movie, Star Trek Beyond, I may not go see it. I may or may not. I haven't decided yet. I watched the trailer, and when I found out that the guy behind Fast and Furious, Justin Lin, was behind it, I lost interest. I mean, it's not to say he's a bad director, but why Paramount would want to get someone like that? Keep Star Trek the way it is. Don't go trying to make it into something it's not. I watched the trailer, and the only vibe I got off of it was action, 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 Fast and Furious set in space. That's it. That's all I got. It showed no interest to me whatsoever. It's like, oh well, they destroyed the Enterprise. The crew gets stranded on the planet, and that's it. When Robert Orci and Alex Kurtzman were in charge, they actually hinted at making the bad guy somebody that we knew, and I was fully expecting them to stick with the Klingon Empire, or even bring in somebody like the Borg. I'd really love to see how Kirk and the original crew would handle a situation like that, given that since this is an altered timeline, what's to say that the transmission that was sent from the NX-01 Enterprise in the episode Regeneration didn't reach the Delta Quadrant sooner? I mean, there are so many possibilities. I mean, I really wish these people would think about it. I mean, hell, even Peter Weller, Admiral Marcus in Into Darkness, he commented that, since meeting the Klingon Empire, they, at every encounter, they have opened fire on our ships. And that there was war coming. Why couldn't they have stuck with that? I mean, seriously, why go off in a different direction than what they had commented on online, on the internet, on these forum sites? Oh, well, throwing ideas out there. They should just stuck with the one with the Klingons. I'd love to see that in one of the newer movies. A full-on war with the Klingon Empire. That is one reason I am behind Axanar. I've watched the prelude to Axanar, and I would love to see that in theaters. This whole crap with Paramount taking them to court is Paramount's stupidity. Their CEO. That's all it is. They obviously don't want to hold, to Gene Roddenberry's ideas. I get they're a company, but at the same time, they need to use their fucking heads. We have not had a Star Trek show on for the last 20 freaking years since Voyager and Enterprise, since Enterprise ended. And Voyager, I always wanted to see how the crew of Voyager was handling being back in the Alpha Quadrant. I even came up with a fan fiction where the Vodwar come back, the Dominion makes a comeback, the Borg, decide now's the time to attack the Federation, and they actually assimilate Earth, and the Cardassians cause some trouble. And of course, in my story, Garrick is elected leader of the reformed Cardassian Union, and he feels bad for a few things, so he decides to help Janeway prevent the Borg from assimilating the Federation. And I also throw a little side story in there that, I do a crossover with it, where, 900 years ago, the Stargate was in existence, and then World War III happens, Cheyenne Mountain is destroyed, and most of the information on the gate, the Gould, and everything else is lost to history. Fast forward to the Voyager timeline. Voyager's back in the Alpha Quadrant, and they're trying to handle, the Borg and all this, and the Federation gets into a war with the new system lords, who who find information and find Earth again and decide they want to try and reconquer it. Well, half a century's passed. Now they have to deal with the Federation, and the Federation has better technology than the Gould. Well, some cases they're actually even, and then they have to deal with a second Jaffa uprising. That's for a different video. I really expected, Star Trek Beyond to actually be a Star Trek movie and not just another excuse for an action film set in space. Yeah, I may, like I said, I may go see it, I may not. I have my reservations. But I seriously hope that Paramount gets off their ass and sees videos like this and realizes that taking Axanar to court is only damaging their image for Star Trek. It's, you know, it's got all of us fans up in an uproar. You know, the ones who like Axanar, who like the idea behind it and support it because it holds true to the original Star Trek. You know, we only saw Garth of Izar in that one original series episode, and yet, you know, they hinted at, you know, Axanar. They hinted at, you know, him being a hero of the Federation before he went mad. Well, you'd think they'd understand. Anyway, no. This video has gone on for 11 minutes, almost 30 seconds. I think that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.